Anthony Joshua is back. We all know what happened a few days ago in Saudi Arabia after AJ dismantled Ngannou in the second round. And of course, it's brought into question whether he can actually beat Tyson Fury and also Oleksandr Usyk in the upcoming months, when eventually those fights will happen. Of course, the event itself was special, but I want to discuss about that event and whether AJ is actually back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sani-That sports guy talking all things sport. And of course, today we're speaking boxing because, as we know, last Friday we saw knockout chaos. And when we saw knockout chaos, we meant it, because AJ had a ferocious knockout of the baddest man on the planet, or what was dubbed to be the baddest man on the planet, in Francis Ngannou, dismantling him in the second round with an absolute ferocious right hand. I did my preview of the fight the day before the actual fight, and I spoke about that right hand being an absolute weapon for AJ and how Ngannou would actually find it hard to evade it. Although, yes, I did think AJ would win by points. The fact that he did put a stop to it wasn't really that surprising at all, because in that same video, I spoke about the fact that how could you expect someone like Francis Ngannou, who's only fighting in his second professional fight, to take on a fighter like AJ, who not only is in great form, but has that power to stop anyone on their day. The fight itself was a mismatch, and yeah, you could be saying hindsight's a beautiful thing, and it is. But if we look at it, Francis Ngannou should not really be in the ring with those fighters. But because of what he actually means for boxing and combat sports and obviously Saudi, it had to happen. I watched it, and I'm pretty darn sure you watched it as well. But at the end of the day, it was all about AJ. This renaissance that he's actually had under the tutelage of Ben Davison is a credit to obviously AJ, but also Ben Davison as well. He was also the same trainer that helped drag Tyson Fury out of the abyss and put him back to the stardom that he was always destined to be in. We also saw Tyson Fury's reaction after that knockout as well. And of course, that fight is the fight that everybody in the world wants to see. Of course, a large part of it is down to the fact that whether Tyson Fury can actually beat Oleksandr Usyk in that undisputed clash in a couple of months' time. Should he do that, then it sets up an absolute gargantuan fight that the whole world will be watching. This new style that AJ brings to the table does open more questions that will definitely be put to Tyson Fury that he might not be able to answer. Of course, I think Fury's the favourite. For me, it's 60-40 right now to Fury. But the way AJ's been fighting, the way AJ's mentality's changed, and his demeanour does make me think that if Fury isn't the same fighter as he once was, then this fight's a lot closer than people think. But as expected, Fury's going to fight Usyk not once but twice, because there's a rematch clause there. So say Fury does lose to Usyk, and then he has the rematch and then he wins, it's inevitable that a trilogy might happen. Likewise, if the shoe's on the other foot, that might happen as well, which means that AJ's somewhat put on the back burners for now. So then it does bring into question, who does AJ fight in the meanwhile? And I think the man to fight is actually Joseph Parker. Now, we all know Joseph Parker was on this card as well. An absolute fantastic performance against Zhang. The reason I say fantastic is the fact that this man came off the canvas twice to beat Big Bang Zhang. Now, I actually had Zhang winning this fight. I thought his power would be too much for Parker. And for the first 6 or 7 rounds, I was actually on. But one of the biggest things that's actually impeded Zhang, and a reason why people actually bring into question whether he can actually do it at the highest level, and when I mean the highest level, I mean the top 5 heavyweights in the world, is that gas tank. Against Forrest, he had similar issues where he gassed quite early. And in this fight, you could tell in the latter rounds, especially after round 7 or 8, he wasn't throwing as many punches. So much so that in the final round, he didn't even throw a single punch. So you have to give credit to Parker. He's durable. He's a good fighter who has speed and power alike. And it does make for an entertaining fight against AJ, because not only is AJ in his renaissance, but you could say Parker's having a resurgence as well. He just beat Wilder, and whether you like to admit it or not, Wilder's still a dangerous fighter. He's now beaten Zhang as well, a fighter that so many fighters would actually fear, and many fans such as me and you that actually held him in such high regard. But the fact that he's beaten them both does put 2 huge W's on his resume. And I think it's a perfect fight for AJ. As we know, a couple of years ago, they fought in the Millennium Stadium. I was at that fight, and it wasn't exactly that high-octane, entertaining fight that you might have thought of that these two fighters bring to the table. And it was a lot more cautious, and the referee obviously interjected a lot more. But I think now is actually the perfect time to have that fight. Of course, it has risk for both fighters, because if AJ does lose that fight, then that fight against a Fury or a Usyk 3 down the line does what come into jeopardy. But you want to be active, and AJ's been really active in the last 12 months. In the last 12 months, he's fought something like 4 times, which is ridiculous. Parker's also been active, and he's also had some really good opponents as well. So I think that's the fight to make. But Parker's someone you've got to be giving credit to, because for me, after he lost to Joe Joyce, I thought that was it. I thought, does he really have a lot in the tank to come back? Then he gets that fight against Wilder, wins that, and now he beats Zhang. he's definitely there and he's definitely a threat. And someone I think AJ cannot take lightly should he take on next. But I want to give a massive shout out to Nick Ball. Whether he's watching this or not remains to be seen. He put on an absolute stellar performance against Vargas. Everyone gave Vargas the whole, oh, he's too tall, oh, he's got the range, oh, he's Mexican, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. But Nick Ball is an absolute terrier. He cut him down. The shots that he was putting on him were unbelievable. The referee, I think, does need to be brought into question the amount of times he kept giving the benefit of the doubt that Vargas was slipping, even though I think Nick Ball was troubling him. But Nick Ball was there all night long, putting bombs and bombs on him. And eventually I thought it would have given way, but the judges saw else. And I think the rematch is going to be one hell of a fight. I'd love for that to take place in Liverpool. And hopefully that would mean Nick Ball having his crowning glory moment in Liverpool. But Vargas Ball was a one heck of a fight and it's going to be special. And also another shout out to Madimov as well. He looks like another terrific fighter. Again, in that light middleweight division, he is going to be a threat. He's got a bit of Triple G to him and he is going to be an absolute monster as well. So, you know, shout out to the fighters on that card and shout out to Turkey El Sheikh as well as Saudi Arabia for putting on this unbelievable card, because we saw some great fights. It was a great night of boxing. And there's many more to come. We've got Haney Garcia coming up. We've got Taylor Cattrall coming up. We've got the Undisputed Clash coming up. We've got Canelo coming up. We have got it all. And it is going to be an absolute amazing year for boxing. But for now, it is all about AJ, because that man is on the rise back to the top of the heavyweight division. Thank you very much for watching the video, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was a couple of days ago, but I still can't get over that from AJ. What an absolute amazing knockout. Everyone was giving it the whole, wow, Ngannou, power this, power that, but he got absolutely flatlined there. Folded like a deck chair, and I mean, that's AJ summed up. It's a great night of boxing. We love these sort of nights now. I think Saudi are definitely going to be putting more of them on. These, you know, entertaining fights, the more 50-50s that we see as well. It's great for boxing and it brings more fans to the sport, which is what this beautiful sport does deserve. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the fight as well. Do you think AJ is back? Do you think people are just overhyping it because it's Ngannou? Or do you think that Fury will eventually actually beat AJ should they fight? And also give me your thoughts on Parker as well. Do you think Parker AJ is a good fight in the interim during that period where AJ is not actually fighting the likes of Usyk or Fury? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, make sure to smash that like button, comment your thoughts, share with your friends and family. And if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. But as always, until next time, peace.